It is your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com from the Dominion release. That is The Seer, which showcases the vocal abilities of my very good friend, my confidant, the love of my life, Veronica from Benedictum. Hi, Veronica.
You're so sweet to me.
I am sweet to you.
You are. I appreciate that more than you know, especially right now. I'll try not to get all weepy on you.
Well, don't get weepy on me.
When we were trying to connect, I know. I'm trying to chill.
Right.
Okay.
Are you all right now?
No, but if we get disconnected, it's because this place, it has the weirdest connection of everything. When you check in on the 5th floor. But then your rooms are on the lower floor, and then my service wasn't working, as you know. And on top of that, my in-room phone wasn't working. So when you called, I couldn't get you the first 4 times.
Sure. Sure.
So anyway.
So where are you? You don't need to mention the establishment.
Well, I would like to, but I won't.
But where are you exactly?
I'm in Rye Brook, New York.
Okay.
And it's absolutely beautiful here. I have to admit that. So for a brief moment, I had one of those moments when you just kind of sit with yourself, and it's kind of ironic to me that I have to travel across the country to get some just personal space to just sit and be. So earlier today, that was really cool. And looking out over, there's like a golf course here, and you guys have, like, these squirrels that look like the squirrels that are in the picture books, you know, when you grow up.
Right.
The bushy tails. We don't have that in California or Arizona.
Sure.
So I totally flipped out, and I got all emotional. It was great. I loved it. It was just like, it totally rocked. I'm sitting there by myself on this table with this beautiful brunch buffet thing before me going, I don't really want to eat everything like I usually do. And then I look out across the golf course, and I see this squirrel thing, and I'm like, that can't be real. And his tail was all beautiful, and it rocked.
So
what's going on in your world?
So you're enjoying the East Coast fall season. That's what you're telling us?
Even more than that. So when I first got here, you have to understand my mindset. My first thing is, wow, that's really cool that they decorated everything with these leaves.
Sure.
And then I realized,
it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different than the Arizona desert, right?
No shit. I'm like, oh my God, and I realized they're all squishy and stuff, and I felt like a little 7-year-old, and I'm running in the parking lot at the other hotel I was at yesterday, and there were all these trees and all these leaves on the ground, and I guess they hadn't done their landscaping, which was awesome for me. And I was thinking, wow, to get that look, you know, we have to go to, like, what is it, Party City or Walmart or something like that, and all these different specialty stores to get big bags of fake leaves.
Right. Sure.
And I'm like, oh my God. And everything smells so good, and the air is cool, and hell, it's beautiful.
Right.
Only thing is, when you're on the road, well, maybe it's because I drive too fast. I mean, not that I think I do, but I mean, those like exits come up on you kind of fast here.
Sure. Well, if you're on that New Jersey Turnpike, that's the way it goes.
I'm just saying. I was like,
right.
Wow, because I'm in Rye Brook, New York.
Yeah, that's what you just said.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, but it said, and then I don't think my GPS can keep up. Because they'll tell me, oh, make a right turn at the exit, but the exit already was passed.
Right. Well, speaking of home and everything, I thought I'd bring a taste of home to you, so I thought I'd invite our good friend Eric Braverman on the phone with us.
Oh, my God. Here we go.
Eric, are you there? No, Eric. I thought he had him on here with me, but I guess not. Well, he said he wanted to be a part of the show tonight, but I tried to call him, and he is not there.
Well, it's all right, because he probably, he's not Mr. Technology.
Right.
So I'll cover him on that.
Sure.
And I'll also tell you that he is like, I'm just uncovering the layers of that person.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, okay, you're the one that introduced me to him, right?
I did.
So that's all your fault, right?
I did.
Okay. And you know that the first time that I met with him, the whole thing with the heavy metal television and everything, and so he looked up some pictures and he said, well, if you look like that, then maybe you could be a VJ.
Right.
And I was like, well, gee, thanks. But if you don't look like that, then, like, really don't bother type of thing.
Right.
And then we met at Denny's and stuff, and we talked for a while, and, I mean, he just had, it kind of like was talking to me on a hyper day with totally unbridled, but with all these ideas and stuff, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. And I have to tell you, the weight that you carry as far as, you've got some clout as far as the person that you are, because he pretty much is very straightforward and told me in no uncertain terms that the only reason why he was speaking to me was because that you recommended me.
Right. Yeah, I hold a lot of water in this business.
I think so. More than my bladder, I think.
Are you telling me something, V? Or do you need to, like, get off the phone for a minute and take care of some business?
Oh, no. I'm good. I took care of that, like, earlier, so I'm good. But you never know, because mine doesn't, like, give me any forewarning like most people. It's just like, okay, now. And it was doing good for a while, but lately it's been rather tragic, so we're good.
Right.
Right now we're good.
Sure. Well, what are you doing in New York? Or can you even say? I mean, if you don't...
Oh, absolutely. I mean, come on now. I can say.
All right.
Trust me.
All right.
There's other stuff I can't say, but I should say, but I won't say. I am out here because Doro is having her 30th anniversary show on Monday at the Gramercy, and I'm going to do a song with her, and so is my good friend Leather Leone, and I am really excited about that. So she flies in tomorrow morning, and I can't wait to see her because sometimes she just gives me the strength that I ain't got.
Right.
And so do you, by the way, but, it's a girl thing with her and I. She knows what...
It's a sister thing.
It's a sister thing.
Right.
And she's just a lot tougher than I am. As much as, I think that... Well, I don't even think I'm that tough, but I guess the image that I have, so people, you're the mighty V. And I am, vocally, but other areas, maybe not so much. Huh?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, to kind of relate a story to that a little bit, Chris is out at a Judas Priest show tonight.
Yep.
And he's in Pittsburgh, which, is about 100 miles to the east of where he lives.
Mm-hmm.
And this just goes to show you the popularity or the power of the classic metal show, which surprises me from time to time. But he said people in the audience recognized him and came over and asked him, "Hey, aren't you Chris from the classic metal show?"
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Well, it is and it isn't. It's just kind of weird because, and I'm going to go back to your point here, that people look at you and say, "Hey, aren't you the mighty V from Benedictum? I've seen your videos or your pictures or you're this or you're that," and you're often surprised about that, and then you don't look at yourself as the same as they're looking at you. Well, it's the same for the show. When I'm out at a show and I'm like in a different town, a different city, and somebody knows who I am in a weird, in a whole different environment, it's like, wow, that was totally unexpected. It's like, you listen to the show?
I have to beg to differ with you on one very obvious point. With my stuff, now I haven't been around on this particular level like you have for as many years, but you're in radio, and even though I do music, there's going to be more pictures of me out there and stuff like that.
Right.
So for you guys to be recognized, to me, seems of even more import or significance because, although when that happens to me, and which isn't that often, but when it does, oh my God, it's so appreciated. but you have a great history, but you're not visual.
Yeah, it's a faceless. Yeah, it's a faceless medium.
Well, look, when I first met you, I was like, when I knew I was going to come out there to hang with you for being the third chairperson.
Right.
That was so cool.
Right.
And before I knew I was going to meet you, I was like, well, my goodness, what does this person look like that I'm going to meet? Just
right.
So I would have a face to put with
sure.
the voice and stuff.
Sure.
And I had to search for that. And then, of course, I found some picture of you kissing on some chick scantily clad, and I'm like, oh, great, this guy's... And you're trying to talk it down. Oh, no, baby, no. Like, please.
But the truth was, and I know exactly what you're talking about, that definitely was a posed picture.
And it's all good. I'm just saying.
I understand.
I had to search to find out.
Right.
You know what I mean? To search a little deeper.
It's like, who the hell is this guy, and should I be scared, and should I run the other direction if I see him?
Well, I wasn't even thinking that. I was just like, well, when I get there or to your area, am I going to know who you are, blind as I am?
Right.
You know, I mean, that's just being on a personal level. I'm blind as a bat and too vain to wear glasses, although I found some cool ones and then I left them on the plane. So in any case, I was like, well, what does this guy look like? So I'd have some kind of idea.
Right.
You know, and then the first picture I find of you, you know, when you go to the images and stuff,
sure,
there were other people that I knew weren't you because it wasn't associated with you in the word search. And then the first one I actually saw that I knew was you was you in your biker vest and the whole thing, and the hottie next to you. Hey, you know, no harm, no foul there.
Right.
I was just like, oh, this guy, okay.
Right. So funny.
But it's cool. But I'm very proud of you. I mean, I can't be happier for you. And if Chris got recognized, that's awesome.
Yeah, that was very cool. He was just like, you know, I'm down here in Pittsburgh and I'm at the show and people are coming up and they're, you know, it's just like, hey, aren't you Chris? I love the show and you're really entertaining and, you know, I listen every week and it's pretty funny.
Really?
Yeah. And he was
that's so cool.
He was just like, I was just blown away.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, he was just saying I was just really stunned that anybody recognized me in a Judas Priest crowd.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would think that he would not be stunned, but, I mean, appreciative, but not stunned.
Sure.
Because you guys have been at the forefront of keeping that whole thing alive. I always say that whenever we do the interview thing, and it's not cliche, it's because it's true. And those that know me know that I'm sincere about it, and those that don't know me know that I'm right. God dang it!
Right.
So,
right.
What the fuck? I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I mean, it's just awesome to have people that are at the charge doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
And I was actually supposed to at least make the attempt to meet him, and I was all like butthurt and stuff because I didn't hear anything from him. We had talked about me coming out there. I wanted to kind of centrally locate myself. I didn't want to be in Manhattan or anything like that when I first got here, because in order for me to get out to New York, I had to use my flight miles because, you know, I ain't rich. And in order to get the lowest amount of miles used, I had to arrive on a Friday and then leave on the Tuesday.
Right.
So I arrived at JFK. It was like 3 times as much to rent a car there, and so I had my great friend Mike LaPond pick me up, and then we went up here to Rye, New York, White Plains.
Right.
And then, in any case, long story short, so I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to still be able to go out and meet Chris at the show, but I didn't hear anything. And I didn't hear anything, and I didn't hear anything from you, and I didn't hear anything from anybody, and I'm getting all butthurt and stuff. And then I realized that where I'm at right now, it's beautiful, no doubt. It's like this beautiful golf resort and all that kind of stuff, but the room levels are like lower than where you check in, lower than the lobby.
Right.
And I have no coverage. And then even the phone coverage, as you know, is spotty at best, so I'm like, this is tripping me out. But I think it's all for the best because I'd probably be calling people I shouldn't call.
Right. Okay. Nice. So you basically flew in there for 3 or 4 days to sing one song with Doro?
Absolutely.
Wow.
And the reason for that is it's Doro, and it's her 30th anniversary.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we love Doro. She was just on the show last week.
There you go. See, you didn't even tell me. So you tell me nothing anymore.
Yeah, I know. Right.
Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And on her 25th anniversary, well, I did the song along with many others, Celebrate, 5 years ago? And then that was for her 25th anniversary.
Sure.
So I was invited to do a really cool thing with, God, my goodness, it was Sabina from Holy Moses, and then, of course, Angela Gassau from Arch Enemy, and quite a few others. And I was like, wow, this is great. But I didn't really get the news until the last minute, and flights to Dusseldorf were kind of high, out of my range. So I was like, I can't do it. And then when I found out she was coming out here, and it worked out really well for me to be able to come out and do this. And then to also know that my friend Leather, who's flying in tomorrow morning, and I'm all excited about that because she gives me a lot of strength, as you know.
Right.
So, she'll set me straight when she gets here. I know that.
Right. Well, what's going on with your campaign and your solo release?
November 5th will be a fundraising Kickstarter campaign because I am in deep debt, deep shit, with the solo record, but I'm a lot happier about where it's at right now, so I feel good about what had to be done. And as many obstacles as have been in the way, there have been a lot of really cool things that just happen to fall into place.
Okay.
So that being said, Michael's, I don't know, have we talked about this whole
Not
stuff
on the
Michael
show.
Sweet
No,
thing?
you told me a little bit in person or on the phone, but not here on the show.
I don't want to bore people and stuff.
Well,
but
it's
it
not
was,
boring.
It was really cool.
People hang on your every word.
Please. Oh, but thank you anyway. It was one of those weird things. I mean, I don't do Twitter that much, and I still don't really get it.
I saw that you're now following me, so that's important.
Okay, I know, huh? It is. That probably will change everything in my life.
Right.
So, I had thrown out there. The bottom line was the record was done, but I think there was a lot of miscommunication. I'm just going to be real. You know how I am, between the producer I had and the label and myself. And I knew that I think there was a lot of lack of communication on the label's part because they were like, oh, look, this is what we want from you. This is what we don't want from you. That was more of what it was. We don't want rehashed Benedictum. We want more melodic stuff from you and not as aggressive of a vocal. Okay, and I was cool with that. If you're not familiar with, if you're only familiar with the maybe some cursory things that you hear from Frontiers or whatever, you may think, okay, so that means I have to do this type of a sound. And I was trying to say, no, it can still be heavy. It just needs to be more melodic. So that being the case, it came out cool, but there were some things that I would have liked to have changed. And, at the end of the day, you got to wrap it up when you got to wrap it up. But when I turned it in and all of a sudden it got delayed, nothing against any production or anything like that. It was just like, okay, well, we're not going to release it for another 6 months. And I'm like, oh, well, hell. Then maybe I can go back and make some changes that I'd like to make. And therein lies the journey of the changes, because I understand some people feel like, well, this is what I wanted to do, and that's cool. And if I had a chance to make it the more the way I wanted it to be, then that's what I wanted to do, being as headstrong as I am. And that took me on another journey, and some series of events ended me up in Boston with Michael Sweet, who offered to write 2 songs and produce them and perform on them, and that was quite the experience, something I wasn't really used to, because I flew out there not knowing anything, and it was pretty much, okay, Veronica, you're not going to get anything ahead of time. I don't have time for that.
Right.
I'm like, oh, okay. So what am I doing? You won't know till you get here. And I'm just not one of those people. I at least need to be prepared. You know, I'm not like professionally trained or anything like that. So when I got there, it was quite the task, but it was wonderful. I mean, I wouldn't exchange that for anything. It was a great experience. He is quite the talent, as well as the other people that were helping me out. And I give a shout out to Kenny Lewis and Peter Tentendo and Derek Kurzweil and all the people that were involved in making it happen. So there were 2 extra songs added, and then I got to do, you've heard it here first, another song with Tony Martin, which I'm really excited about.
Right.
And it kind of changed the whole ambiance of the album, and I was able to pull out some things I wasn't thrilled with and kind of changed the shape of it. I mean, it is what it is, which is cool. I mean, it's not Benedictum. Some of it's bluesy rock stuff, some of it's metal, some of it's rock, some of it's like, oh my God, is that even her?
Sure.
Which is kind of cool for me. You know what I mean?
But if you were just going to do a album that sounded like Benedictum, what's the point?
I'm glad you said that, because I kind of needed to hear that. I'm the one that was the most resistant to the whole thing.
Yeah, but the thing is if you're going to do a solo record outside of what you're known for, and it comes out sounding exactly what you're known for, then why call it a solo record?
I'm with you. I again, that kind of reinforces the reality of it for me.
Well, let me give you...
But I struggled with it a lot.
Sure. Well, let me give you a prime example. You know my good friend Don Dokken.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear his Solitary record?
No.
I will send it to you.
Okay.
It is nothing like Dokken. Nothing. Not even close.
In a good way? Can I ask? In a good way?
No,
or
it's in a great way. I play it all the time, but it's not a Dokken record. It doesn't sound anything like Dokken at all. But it's a solo record, and it's such a 180-degree departure from what you know him from Dokken that it makes sense that it's a solo record. For him to do this specific record and then call it Dokken doesn't make any sense at all.
Right. Oh, I get that totally.
Mm-hmm.
I totally do. And I just, someone like Don Dokken, though, I would be less fearful because he's more established. I mean, I'm just like, a little OV. I mean, half the people don't know who I am.
But the thing is that between you and the band Benedictum, you guys have put out 5 stellar releases. I mean, the way that I met you was through the release of Uncreation. Mm-hmm. And, you guys have risen above and beyond. You guys have not put out a shitty record. Let's just put it that way. And 5 records.
4.
What do you mean 4?
What's the 5th one?
You got Dominion,
Uncreation, Seasons of Tragedy, Dominion.
Oh, I'm looking at your
and Obey. You're not even looking at the right shit.
I'm looking at your solo record. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
I am. I put it in.
Anyway,
I put it in the same. I put it in the same music file as the rest.
And you may. It's cool. I mean, when you, oh my goodness, I can't wait to send you, because you've heard some of the stuff.
Yes, I have.
But you heard it before it got kind of like revamped.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, it was great to have some choices. I don't know, very, very blessed. And sometimes as beat up as I get, at the end of the day, I want this more for your listeners than for you, because you already have your thing going on. But maybe there's somebody that's just like, it just doesn't always go great.
Sure.
And sometimes it's like a journey. So that's an understatement. I mean, I get really discouraged because I see other people, and it seems like everything just goes swimmingly for them. It's just like, and I don't even mean like necessarily recognition, but they're going to put this out, it comes out. They're going to have a video, there's a video. They're going to have this, that's going to happen. And there's always all these hang-ups and stuff, and I have to look at, is the common denominator me? Did I do something wrong? Or is that just the part of my process that I've got something to learn because of it? I don't know. So at the end of the day, it's kind of cool. I mean, that's why you don't see a whole lot of, like, official videos. I wasn't overly thrilled about the one that we have, and so now there's going to be, I guess, a video for the solo album, which I'm really excited about. So having Michael Sweet involved is a good thing because Frontiers likes him.
Sure.
I don't know how sad they feel about me, but
but see, you don't give yourself enough credit, and the regardless of the fact if you're a household name or not, I think that you've made your mark out there, and where the Classic Metal Show is concerned, Chris and I both accept the fact that we are a niche program. We will never be mainstream, nor do we want to be. We don't want to be a mainstream. We don't want to be a Kardashian. It's not about the money. It's not about the fame. It's not about the notoriety. It's about doing what you like to do and doing it the best you can. That's all it is. It's not about anything else. And if those things don't matter to you, then it's it's a fruitless effort.
Well, I would agree with you 80% of the way, but if you have if you're performing as a band, it's a different scenario, and you have to have then everybody on board with that.
Well, I agree, and
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
If person A and B are saying, "Oh hell no, I ain't putting any money out," forget that, and you have person C and D going, "Well, I'm hungry for this, so if we don't necessarily make money or if we have to put out a little bit out of our own pocket, does that mean we have to cover person A and B too?" It really presents some challenges.
Yeah, I agree. And when you have more than one person involved, yes, that democracy seems to kind of rule overall. But for a solo artist, or someone who's doing a solo project, i.e. you, or
but
Chris.
You realize that you have to have people, and I've always said this back in the day before there was any talk about Veronica doing any solo thing, there was conjecture about, what do you think about doing a solo project?
Right.
Or why don't you get out there and do this, that, and the other thing? And I'm like, well, when, how you ever see those people with the, it's kind of like a joke in the vaudeville thing, and they have the little tambourine thing and the bass drum,
right?
And
it's
a
one-man show, yeah.
Yeah, if I can be a one-man or one-woman show, great. But not even. That's not what my intent was ever. So you have to realize it doesn't really work that way. Even someone like, Lady Gaga, or let's go back to Cher, or Shania Twain, or whoever, or Taylor Swift, whoever that has the one name thing going on, do you think their musicians play for free?
No, absolutely not.
They don't.
But they have, fortunately for them, they have that wherewithal that they are a popular act to where it does generate revenue to where they can pay musicians, and it's
but you have to get there in order to do that. So, do you know what I mean? It's like, how do you? It is just a matter of synchronicity sometimes, and serendipity at sometimes, to where things just happen to fall into place, and then luck happens for you.
Right.
As hard as you may work, I do believe in the work ethic, and I was thinking about that like yesterday. It's like, damn, I'm doing this, and this, and I'm not complaining. I'm just like, damn. The risk that I take and blah, 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 just to like get out there and do whatever. But on the other hand, I get to get out there and do whatever. And there's a lot of people that would be like, well, V, if you don't want to do that, I'll do it. So I'm always aware of that there's people far more talented than I am that don't even get the chance to do half of what I do.
That is true.
It is true. It's true. And I feel bad because I look at some people who, and I don't judge, I'm probably too wimpy in some areas of my life, and I think, wow, that stuff's cool, but I kind of hear that every day, but yet they're getting all this attention or whatever, and it's frustrating, there's no doubt, but, you know, it's a different world.
It is. Well, you know, granted, Veronica, you know, where the CMS is concerned, I mean, I've been doing it. It'll be 20 years next year. 20 years. Never have I made any money on this in 20 years. But I don't do it for the money. And I realize I really do understand the commercial component of entertainment, and it's a necessary evil. And if you're going to be a performer, which you are, you're a live performer, it's nice to have, you know, an income from it, from a commercial source, be it ticket sales, merchandise sales, record support, whatever it is. That's an important component, and I get that, believe me. But if you don't enjoy doing it and you were commercially successful, it's Chris Holmes said, I would rather be poor and happy than rich than sad. And there's a lot to be said about that.
Okay.
So, you know, I kind of look at it that way. It's just like, I'd rather be poor and happy doing what I'm doing than be rich and be sad.
Then I have been doing that in that capacity for quite a while. And again, but you know what I mean? It's like, okay, but it's difficult to get people to hop on board with you. I'm poor and happy. You want to join me in being poor and happy? No one's going to want to play drums for you and be poor and happy.
Right.
It is a different dynamic.
I get it. Believe me,
know?
I get it.
So you can't talk to, I don't know, anybody, a Slayer or whatever, you and say, are you poor and happy? Because they're going to go, fuck you. No, I want to do this and that or whatever. Because there's got to be some kind of component that is reaping some sort of revenue.
Right.